This episode of Techzilla is brought to you by the HP MediaSmart Server, powered by Microsoft Windows Home Server, GoDaddy.com, and Netflix. Coming up today on Techzilla, is Powerline Networking working yet? Start geotagging your photos, bring GPS and digital photography together. And is watching old movies and TV shows on Blu-ray a waste? Give that snow shovel a rest and curl up by the fireplace, because Techzilla starts now. Welcome to Techzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
This is the studio.
We're back in the studio. It's nice to be home.
In case you've been wondering, in case you've just joined us on Techzilla, we normally don't shoot at CES with a cavalcade of products. We shoot here. We do a lot of tech questions. We like to explain on how to use technology and just exciting stuff. More product coverage actually is coming in the new year. More hands-on products.
Right, absolutely.
Actually say hands-on projects.
That's something you guys wanted to see more of, the hands-on with products thing. And yeah, we've got some other good ideas that we're hopefully going to get started on this coming 2009. I'm very excited.
And as always, we want to hear your ideas, so email us techzilla@revision3.com. One thing that was not on our list was watching Circuit City go down the tubes. They'll be closing the rest of their stores across the United States by the end of March.
Yeah, I'm a little sad, but it is kind of a sign of the times. But you know what? I've never been a huge, enormous fan of Circuit City, but it is kind of sad just because they're, got great tech stuff. 30,000 people lost their jobs.
30,000.
Nothing good about that.
No, nothing good about that at all. But you know what? A lot more people actually, I've seen the Consumer Electronics Association, they do Twice, which is their magazine for retailers. The #1 retailer for consumer electronics, Best Buy, followed by Walmart, who did $17 billion in 2007, followed by Circuit City, followed by, it's actually amazing how much people buy from Target and Costco and still from Sears. It's not like you're not going to be able to buy your stuff anymore.
Yeah, I always go into Costco. I don't go there very often, but at my other job, we have Costco cards for like buying snacks at the office.
Right.
And I go in there, I'm like, TVs and cameras and all this stuff. I'm like, I had no idea they had this kind of consumer electronic load here.
Actually, some of the best deals you're ever going to find on HD TVs. Good deals, not great. Not as great as on camcorders. They do great deals on digital cameras. They sell memory cards for nothing. The best deals I've ever seen on HD TV mounts. Both my HD TV mounts I bought at Costco.
And ladies, they have a lot of really high-end makeup on the cheap.
Yes.
Just so you know.
And
or dudes, if you like makeup,
guy
liner, whatever.
You ever see the tequila by the pallet?
No.
Like the industrial-sized bottles of Patron, they have entire pallets of them.
Dios mío.
It's like a half-ton of tequila. Not to get all spoilery, but how about that well, actually, I should say the first episode of the last half season of Battlestar.
Right, so the
I guess the fifth Cylon is the big
premiere,
thing.
the mid-season premiere.
Guess what? You're going to have to buy 2 DVD box sets to get the last seasons of Battlestar Galactica. Not that I'm bitter, mind you.
Yes, apparently the 5th Cylon was announced. I did watch it. I don't want to give too much away. I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
I was actually too beaten about the head and neck at that point with all the plot twists and turns.
I don't know why they just didn't think. I don't want to. Never mind.
Time for our first email. It seems Daniel is slightly miffed about our coverage of wireless charging stations at CES.
Indeed, Daniel writes, the wireless charging device you reviewed did not impress me as much as I would hope. I was a little disappointed that it was simply a station and not an emitter that would charge my electronics at a distance. What made this product so special to you guys? I would love to hear a more in-depth review of it.
Well, first off, Daniel, that was not a review. It was show and tell from CES, and frankly, we're a lot less critical there, especially when we're doing like 20 products we've seen for 5 minutes and like 22 minutes of airtime. Second, we feel your pain that the magnetic induction technology we showed off from a couple different companies at CES doesn't mean you can get all Tesla and wander around the house with your monitor magically charging through the ether.
Magic Lord and the wireless charging fairy.
La la! So, yeah, for these technologies, for magnetic induction, you do need power points hidden in a desktop or a wall, or like we showed you in the live feeds, a charging station, right? Because basically they have to be near each other. It's kind of like looking at the coils in a like a transformer you'd see inside of a power pack. Now, we're not sure if you saw the video we had of PowerMat's gear in action, showing 120 volt devices working on a countertop like a blender, right? It's pretty cool. So you can basically just, Grab your
yeah.
blender off the shelf, slam it down, use it, and put it back up there. Is it as cool as wireless through the air as you dance around the house? No, but think about dropping your phone and your notebook and anything else you need to run on your desk and having it charging without having to plug it into a wall socket. That would be cool.
I still really like the idea of just having it in a drawer and just having like my gadget drawer that I could throw everything in there and just have it charge overnight.
It can theoretically work, no problem.
But yeah, we'd love for somebody to work out the physics for moving power through the air without nuking us like microwave popcorn too, which would be awesome.
Yes.
Although, you know, the future, the technology, it's going to take...
We have
There's going to be some pros and cons in the future. You have to take the good with the bad. If you get fried like a microwave, so be it. Your stuff is charged.
I'm sure they'll
What do you
work it
want?
out. Still
Right?
to come, free NTFS partitioning tools and our Powerline networking devices ready for HD video streaming.
Yep, and now it's time for a message from one of our sponsors, the HP Media Smart Server powered by Microsoft Windows Home Server. The HP Media Smart Server will automatically back up multiple computers in your home, including both Windows PCs using Microsoft Windows Home Server, as well as Macs using Apple's Time Machine. Easily and automatically centralize all your digital media files, including photos, videos, music, and any other important files. It's a convenient way to manage your iTunes libraries and associated playlists, and a streamlined way to manage your photo libraries, then easily publish your photos to popular photo sharing or social media sites using any internet-connected computer. It's your new entertainment hub. It gives you access to your digital media anywhere you have an internet connection, and easily extend your digital media experiences by conveniently streaming photos, music, and videos within your home to either PCs and your TVs through gaming consoles such as Xbox 360. Do us a favor here at Tekzilla and check out HP's Media Smart Server powered by Microsoft Windows Home Server. Support us by supporting our sponsors.
Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week's pick is Xbench. Any good PC tweaker knows the ultimate test of their efforts is measured in benchmark scores. You got 3D benchmarks, office benchmarks, and tests for every subsystem on a PC. But when it comes to the Mac, tools for benchmarking are pretty scarce. Free tools are even more scarce. Enter Xbench, the benchmarking tool for OS X. From CPU threads to OpenGL performance, even memory and disk tests, you're covered no matter what machine you run. And it's simple to use. Just tick the checkbox for the benchmark or benchmarks you want to run and click Start. When it's over, you can compare your results with Xbench's web-based index of tested systems. So if you want to see how much faster OS X runs on that new hard drive, or whether or not it was worth playing less for no-name RAM, you can find your answers with Xbench. Brian wants to know, you have any favorites regarding free partition managers? I'm thinking in particular for resizing NTFS partitions. In case you're wondering, this is partly in relation to the previously mentioned system episode concerning hard drive cloning. Thanks, Patrick. Brian, well, you should thank Roger for the cheap and easy hard drive upgrade episode of System. He was all about upgrading your drives on the cheap, and you know what? It's actually fun cloning, like just cloning all your data onto a big fat new drive.
Yeah, we're going to assume you're looking for a non-destructive partitioning tool, Brian. Our favorite is GParted, aka GNOME Partition Editor. It does non-destructive partitioning, works on just about any drive format you can think of, and has a graphical interface that doesn't cause users to spontaneously burst into A, fire, or B, tears. So that's really nice. Yeah, indeed. Tons of people use it every day, so download it off of SourceForge and give it a try.
And it's free.
And it's free, which is awesome.
Used to be like only one like open source partition manager. It seemed like Ranish Partition Manager, but this one's non-destructive and it's really good.
Yeah, you're going to have to help me with some open source and Linux programs for me pretty soon.
Are you going open source?
I am. Well, I got the HP Mini 1000, the one that's running the Linux distro.
Oh, you're not going to run XP on it?
No, so I think I'm going to live in the cloud.
Okay.
Which I hate saying.
How about we ask them for their favorite programs?
Okay, yeah, if you guys want to send me some of your top choices for, Linux programs and that kind of thing. If I need to do something, if I even need a program that runs on the computer, because I'm pretty much just going to try to do everything in Google and web-based apps and that kind of thing.
Next up is a video email from Kevin.
Hey Pat and Veronica. Streaming high-def content wirelessly to my PS3 causes stuttering. Does Ethernet over the power lines get anywhere close to 100 megabits of regular Ethernet? And does it work across power circuits?
Okay, that's a good one actually. Ethernet versus 802.11g for HD content streaming to a PS3.
Yeah, you'd think so, given the current specs on Powerline Networking, which, in case the name doesn't make it obvious, uses adapters that plug into the power outlets in your home and use the existing power lines to actually send Ethernet over through the house. The packets
Zeros
are
and
traveling
ones.
through the power lines. It's very magical. Instead of wiring all your Ethernet cables like through holes in the wall and
Or
around the
drilling holes in the
corners
wall.
and nailing them down to the side of the things
Or
and the stuff.
stapling them at kneecap
Yeah, that's
height
what
like a friend of mine did once in our
Wait,
house.
kneecap height? Why
Yeah,
would
actually,
you
it was
do that?
Because they were lazy.
Just run them on the floors by the whatever.
It would seem obvious, but
Anyway, the theoretical max of current Powerline adapters is 200 megabits per second. That should stop 802.11g's 54 megabits per second, though, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of how, the math makes sense.
Sure.
Especially since you only need a clean 20 megabits per second or so to stream HD over your home network.
And we should quantify it's like 720p-ish, like Apple
Right.
TV or the other downloadable HD.
So what
content.
about circuits, though? I mean, most houses have
boy.
like 2 or 3 or 4 circuits running the power in their house. Is there going to be some kind of wall there?
Well, there's
Theoretical,
there's
non-physical wall, or maybe a physical wall. I don't know.
Let us discuss the caveats. Powerline networking has gotten 8 zillion times better than when it started out. When it started out, it was a screaming mess, right? But you have to have your adapters have to be on the same circuit.
Okay, that's
and
really important to know.
They suffer from interference issues, like big time.
Like what kind of interference? Like,
Like
electrical
turning on your
interference?
plasma
or, okay.
television, or having dimmer switches,
Dimmer switches,
or
interesting.
surge protectors.
Surge protectors are important because it will not work with surge protectors unless they actually have a plug that is specifically for Powerline networking. So some of them do. They'll have I think it says home line. Right on the adapter there, and that one should be safe for using, but otherwise you do not want to plug it into a surge protector. That won't work.
Yeah, because basically, right, they do a lot of really sophisticated manipulation, frequency hopping to try to figure out the best possible connection inside your house. And before I forget, there are 2 competing technologies for Homeline power, for Powerline networking that do not interact: HomePlug AV and DS2 UPA. And
Don't you just love when they do that? 2 competing technologies that don't work together.
Makes me want to hurt
When has that ever
things.
worked?
It doesn't. It's frustrating. There's a chance Powerline will work okay in your home, but make sure the devices are returnable. If they don't, 802.11n is probably a better bet, and Ethernet is still the king. There's a really great read actually at smallnetbuilder.com, HD Streaming Smackdown Draft 11n versus Powerline, where the author actually sat down and compared. The biggest thing was amazing, if you looked at the Powerline networking test to different parts of his house, it was amazing how radically different the throughput was.
So the interesting thing too is while there are 2 different kinds of Powerline home networking, 2 different, I guess, what would you
Competing
say?
standards.
Competing standards. You
Specs.
can use adapters from different companies differently in your house. So say if you have like one in your living room and one in your office, they don't have to be the same brand to work together.
If they have the same spec.
As long as they have the same specs. You can switch them around and use different ones depending on the prices that you find online if you want to buy a new adapter. But you need to have a new one for each room.
This is definitely one of those areas where if you can find benchmarks on them, you should read them, because different chipsets are supposed to work better than others. It's just, Ethernet still rocks. 802.11n, I think, is your next step. 802.11g, yes, as you noticed, it doesn't work so well with big bandwidth.
Exactly. Well, now if you want to get your 15 seconds of internet video fame, send us in one of those videos. All you need to do is record yourself in front of a camera asking a question no longer than 15 seconds. Then upload them to YouTube and email us a link with video question in the subject line and no attachments. And also, we can't find them really if you don't put video question in the subject line. So if you want us to even see your video, you should pay attention to that part. But up next, geotagging your photos. But first, it's time for a Netflix-sponsored rental of the week. And this week, it's Groundhog Day. I love this one. The story centers around a self-centered meteorologist played by Bill Murray. He's on assignment covering the local Groundhog Day celebration, a chore he'd rather skip, but no such luck. He wakes up the next morning only to find that he has to relive the same day over and over again, with no one else the wiser. What's more, it continues the next day, and the next. He goes through all kinds of crazy antics as he tries to figure out how to break the cycle. It's a 90s Bill Murray comedy. What's not to like? Stick it in your Netflix queue now, and don't forget to check out the other 90,000 titles available on Netflix, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. And because they now have over 40 shipping centers, almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. Awesome. The Netflix plans start from $4.99, but as a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Check it out at www.netflix.com/Texilla, and don't forget those darn little W's. Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of, a website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, NiceCritic.com. Have you ever been in the awkward situation of wanting to tell a coworker or friend something embarrassing or uncomfortable, but haven't known how? NiceCritic.com could be the answer. Here's how it works. When you head over to the site, you'll see various categories listed, such as personal hygiene, neighborly suggestion, or appearance. Pick the desired category, and then you'll be able to select a very gently phrased statement to send to your desired recipient. For example, I decided to let Roger know that his posture lately hasn't been so stellar, so I selected the better posture might convey more confidence message. Just enter in their name and email address, and NiceCritic will anonymously send along the note. Other favorites of mine include, please refrain from picking at your skin when in the company of others, and the aroma of alcohol on your breath is apparent, and finally, your use of the internet seems to be affecting your workload. Never heard that one before. Luckily, there are a few safeguards in place so that the system can't be abused. The same message cannot be sent to the same email address for up to 96 hours of sending that particular message, and any recipient can decide to unsubscribe at any time and will not receive another message from NiceCritic, so please use it responsibly. Save yourself some uncomfortable FaceTime and visit NiceCritic.com today. Alrighty, let's take an email from Ryan in South Dakota. He writes, since I saw the cool geotag features in iPhoto 09, I've been looking around for cameras that include GPS. I prefer Sony point-and-shoots, but also like Canon and Casio. However, I can't seem to find many options with these brands. Can you highlight some cameras that feature geotagging so I can be ready for iPhoto 09 when it ships? Thanks from Ryan in Brookings, South Dakota. Well, you're exactly right. There aren't yet that many cameras out there that will automatically geotag out of the box. The Nikon Coolpix P6000 does have GPS built in. That will run you about $500. Or for $200, you can grab the GE, yes, and I do mean GE, E1050, which also has a receiver. But I expect now that Apple has built the Places feature into iPhoto, more manufacturers are probably going to jump on that bandwagon and hasten to release products with GPS built right in. Like, for example, the iPhone.
It's tough to call when it has a camera.
It's almost as though it were prophetic.
It's weird.
It's very creepy that they somehow were like, hey, we should geotag our photos automatically because someday we may release some kind of service built into one of our own products
it would be nice
that will allow us to sort our videos and photos by a geotag location.
Best to have a better camera in the iPhone.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, guys. But hey, with a little less money, you can attach a GPS unit to your camera, which will sync the coordinates with your pictures. About.com, actually, which we keep going back to. They've got great answers for stuff. They have a great list of camera-specific units for doing this, all of which are in the 75 to 125 range.
Are they all still shipping? Because one of my issues with About.com is sometimes it's stuff that hasn't been shipping
a little bit
since,
older.
Yeah,
it
years
was
ago.
from this year, I think.
It's probably good then.
From this year or last year.
2008, 2009 is good.
Check it out anyway. There are also cables available that will connect your camera to your GPS unit, such as Nikon's MC35 GPS cable. That will add geotag info immediately instead of during the upload to the PC like the other attachment devices. If you want to get really fancy with a Nikon DSLR, Make magazine has a great how-to on building your own geotagging device for your camera. That's a little more work, though.
That's a lot more work.
And with the cables, don't worry too much about brand because each camera probably has their own GPS to camera cable that you can use to connect it and get that stuff on the fly.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because this is kind of one of those things that came out of nowhere. It went from like nobody did this to like.
Well, even back in 2006, people were talking about wanting to do it, but for some reason, the technology just hasn't become mainstream enough that people are like really excited about it and demanding it in their cameras. So they just haven't really built it in yet.
Well, it's so funny. Like most people, I mean, you know, it's not going to work indoors because GPS doesn't work indoors. It's not. It's just such a funny thing. Like I want to know the exact location of where I took my photos. Like if you're doing wildflowers or cactus or stuff.
I mean, for vacation stuff. I mean, why not?
I know, but you kind of. I don't know. This is one of those technologies where like part of me is like this is so cool, and part of me is like this is so goofy. Anyhow, if you have a camera and a GPS device, you can actually geotag your photos from your track on your GPS device. Like if it's running in a car or something, using software like RoboGeo. That way you don't have to buy any new stuff. Or if you want to get really manual, you can actually drop geotag information into your EXIF or your file itself by using Google Earth and Picasa or Geotagger.
Yeah.
And there's an amazing amount of discussion on this, the Flickr geotagging group, flickr.com/group/geotagging. It is out of control. People are really excited about this. I guess, you know, people pull them into Google Earth a lot too, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
I have to turn that off sometimes, because especially for San Francisco.
It's just too much.
I'm trying to find something.
Overwhelming.
These are lovely photos of your children, sir.
I mean, do you like how I still continue to do my hunter zombie? Like, This is, never mind. Go ahead. You're
Growl
trying
at
to
the
read a
screen.
sponsor.
Come on, growl at the screen.
I don't remember how to do the hunter scream right now. I'm losing it. It's not coming to me.
While Veronica looking. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. These are the people that help us bring the show to you each and every week. GoDaddy.com. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99 plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and quite a bit more. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be and worry that their personal and financial information might fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. Now, you want to score a discount? Of course you do. Enter in the code TEK5, that's TEK5 when you check out. You'll save an additional $10 off any order of $40 or more. Some restrictions do apply. Please see the site for details. And do us a favor here at Tekzilla. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com and use that code TEK5 when you do.
Andrew's got a question about high-def media sources. As more and more older movies and TV shows get released on Blu-ray, are we getting upscaled versions that are better than the original but not true HD? Can you say pixelated much? What's the story? Regards from Andrew.
Okay. Brace yourselves, because it all depends on the source material and the transfer from the source material. Most stuff shot on film, which is just about everything made back in the day, has more than enough resolution to make good use of 1080p on Blu-ray. That doesn't mean it won't look like crap because of a weak transfer or something I haven't seen yet, but I can see happening because a cheap production house takes the DVD master and just blows it up to 1080p because they're cheap. Yeah. And if you're a big fan of like B and C grade movies, you've seen really bad transfers on DVDs. Now, old movies, standard FTV, they're going to require pillar bars to watch in the original format, assuming the production company doesn't crop the top and bottom from the original frame to make it sort of a mock widescreen, which sucks because it ruins the original basically ruins the original intentions of the cinematographer. I don't want to see Citizen Kane in a widescreen version because somebody didn't like Greg Toland's work or the fact that people worked in 4:3. And the quality of the source material, i.e. the condition of the print getting digitized and turned into the digital video you'll watch on your Blu-ray disc varies a lot. Some of the earliest Blu-ray discs looked awful, not because there was any issue with Blu-ray technology, but the discs were made for some pretty awful source material with scratches and dirt and maybe wasn't color corrected or was a little faded or who knows what they were. Now, you want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
A lot of super accurate transfers on a 1080p screen are going to drive viewers nuts because the film grain hasn't been massaged out of the frame by low resolution or post-processing. Film grain is part of film, and most folks aren't used to seeing it in movies unless they like to sit in the front row of movie theaters with excellent projectors.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought of that before.
It's crazy when you look at some stuff, when you look at some films, really good transfer in 1080p on a really good screen. It is unbelievable how much it looks like being in a theater. And it's also unbelievable how much texture that film actually brings to it. It's going to be
artifacts, I mean, that's just kind of the way it was.
Well, it's not really an artifact, it's film. It's got little pontils of color. It's just, and if you've watched movies most of the time on, cable TV or DVDs, you're probably not used to seeing that. So, just a thought.
Just a thought.
Our last viewer question of the day comes from Corey, who spotted a flaw in my 4AA battery coverage at CES. He writes, I'm watching the latest Tekzilla Live from CES, and you showed some Quad A batteries and said the Energizer came up with these because they saw demand. I'm not sure why they would tell you that, as 4AA batteries have been around for at least a decade. I had a device that used them in high school. They aren't anything new. Keep up the good show. Corey.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Pat was kind of on the crack that day. 4AA batteries, 4AAs, yeah, they've been around for years. You can take a look at the Wikipedia article, which I suggest you maybe go take a look at. Although, to my detriment as well, I did not say anything or correct you or even notice it because I was too scared of being on live television at the time.
Yes, but
so that's my excuse. I'm
live
sorry.
Television's scary. You know what? I've never. It's kind of funny. The reason I this is why. Remember the whole difference between a review on the regular show and CES coverage.
This is what happens. Grace comes up to us and says, "Here, take this product. Learn about it right now, and then talk about it on the show." And we're like, okay. Here's this thing. It's like the Lion King.
It's so shiny. So we're bringing you back to our regular hypercritical coverage of technology here on the regular show. For all of you watching, Well, we live on your questions, so email us, techzilla@revision3.com. Tech Help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it, but we need your emails to guide us through the dark, so don't be shy. Send them in to techzilla@revision3.com.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and all the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Plus, if you want to be part of our ongoing plans to make Techzilla a better and more compelling show, please join us in our go-to meeting, where you can share your thoughts about what you want to see right here on Techzilla. All you need to do is sign up for a free GoToMeeting trial using the Try It Free button along with the code Techzilla. Remember, sign up using the code Techzilla, and come Friday, February 6th, you can have a chance to chat with Pat, me, Roger, and Serafina, and let your voice be heard. So go sign up now.
Speaking of signing up, the Revision 3 store is up and running, so check it out at revision3.com/store. You'll find t-shirts and hats from your favorite shows, plus, if Roger gets his way, Techzilla hot sauce. So do us a favor and check it out, revision3.com/store.
Thanks so much for watching. This is like the third time I've gone like this.
Throwing the horns.
Throwing the horns.
Throwing the horns. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We're very serious. And until next time, you've been watching Techzilla.
You have little schmutz on your shirt.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, it got on my finger.
What was it?
I don't know. I didn't look at it. It felt like chocolate. Hope it wasn't poop.
This is a post-baby
You have a baby, so I never
shirt.
know there could be poop
No,
everywhere.
there was no diaper changing
Okay.
involved with this shirt. Let's not even get into burrito poop. Banana poop is kind of
Baby eats
awe-inspiring.
All right.
Raisins actually.
So, with the show, before I hurl.
Let me tell you about raisin poop.
Oh. The Netflix 3, 2. Please refrain from pickup. I got spit mouth. Tripping all over stuff over there, Twinkle Toes. 3, 2. It's at http http.
Oh, you can skip the URL. Sorry about that.
TTPP. I'm just gonna. It's a little social experiment with myself. Is that an oxymoron? Social experiment with myself.
I kind of like it.
Anyway,
Next
we
up,
digress.
a video email from Kevin. Sorry, I'm just thinking of what that could be, and it just gets ruined really quickly.
Well, why don't you send my video to passiveaggressivenotes.com, Roger? That was really bad. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, fail.
The comedy stylings of Veronica Belmont.
I'm not.
Oh, that was harsh. Even by our standards. Aww.
Anyone? Anyone?
I really have to play that game. I haven't had a chance to touch it yet.
And then when they're scared, they go.
How do they go?